It's January 27th, 2012. The beets have been planted and Grandpa's out in the back 40 harvesting corn. Wait, is this July? No, this is Make and Break.
Bob Wood, National Program Director of the Chum Group, worked with us in producing...
Hold up, before we get started...
Guess who's coming? Guess who's coming? Guess who's coming?
Dan Calvin.
Back again! Who is he? Just your favorite DJ Savior. Using and confusing beats that you never heard. 1990. Put a smile on your face like ultra bright.
You're just fessing, man. I don't even want to hear about it.
You're listening to Make and Break Radio on RadioMackinac.org. Welcome to Make and Break Radio, episode 54 on RadioMackinac.org. It's going to be a good show tonight. Got some pretty good tunes and a couple of stories about snowmobiles here on the island. I think you'll enjoy them. The other day I was sitting at the Village Inn, and I was overhearing the lunch special of the day, and the lunch special was a half a sandwich and a bowl of soup. Pretty common fare, most anywhere. And it got me to wondering, how many romantic relationships have been spawned by the half sandwich? The scenario that's in my head is that there are two people eating, they don't know each other, they're sitting at separate tables. I don't know how the interaction would begin, but nonetheless it does. And one of them says, "Oh, I see that you got the half soup in the sandwich." "Why, yes, I did." "Are you enjoying it?" "Yes, I'm enjoying it very much." "I enjoyed mine myself." "So, how do you know?" How about that?" And as they get to talking about the half sandwich, they realize that as they examine their sandwiches, now for some reason there's evidence of, I don't know how it would work out in comparison, but it turned out that they each shared half of a sandwich that was once whole, and a connection was made. Has that ever happened? Is this just a glorious romantic pipe dream? Well, nonetheless, I didn't tell that story properly. I'll let it just blossom in your head, and you can own the story for yourself. You can take that one, you can share it with your friends as if it's your own idea. I'm fine with that. Let's get on with the show!
There was once a time that snowmobiles baffled me. I remember the first time that I transported myself via such a conceivably infernal device. My mentor and good friend asked me if I could drive one. I said, sure, I've driven dirt bikes. I even own an old Vespa. A snow machine couldn't be too much different. I left the hotel and I jumped on the machine, before which I had only been a passenger. The Polaris started right up for me. Nice, I thought. Now time to get moving. Throttle on the right, clutch on the... wait a minute. That's the brake. Where's the clutch? Where's the gear shift? Nothing at my feet. How does it go? Damn it, I thought. Reluctantly, I shut down the engine and went back in. There's no clutch! My boss laughed at me in his own way and said, push the throttle and go. Like a go-kart? No joke, it has a centrifugal clutch? He said yes, and he sent me on my way. This was the first time ever really using a device equipped with such a method of power transfer, aside from the time at Jogga Lake that resulted in me being kicked out because the cart that I was driving didn't have any brakes. Nonetheless, I have allowed myself to absorb the mechanics of these machines. I can't get my automobile kicks here on the island, so I'll have to say that the void left by island life in that regard has filled by an ever-growing knowledge and appreciation for snowmobiles. And tonight, let's follow on that thread.
Make and Break Radio with Dan Calvin.
Join us for more at this show's website. Visit makebreakshow.com and listen to the podcast, and most importantly, leave a comment. That's makebreakshow.com.
So a few weekends ago, my sister was house-sitting for a couple of friends and feeding their animals. The first full day that they're gone, I go over to help her move some old fence posts they were giving her, when we noticed that of 2 horses, only one was visible. Several possibilities immediately spring to mind: dead, escaped, abducted, camouflage, tunneling. Upon investigation, we found it off in the corner of the pasture, having shuffled off his mortal coil. Being us, we fed the other animals and loaded the fencing before deciding on a plan. As it turns out, the horse was almost 30 years old and had a history of health problems. Also, the friend was 2 days from returning and couldn't afford to rent tobacco or pay someone else to deal with it. At 75 degrees of South Georgia January, and suddenly this had somehow become partly my problem. 8 friends and church members later, we finally find someone who has a backhoe that is known to be working. Turns out, he doesn't let it leave his home without him due to liability and insurance, but he is quite accommodating. Instead of the backhoe, he loans us a flatbed trailer, and he also tells us he'll bury the horse on his own lot. All we have to do is bring it along. So on a fine Sunday afternoon, I find myself with my dad and my brother-in-law, no the absentee sister, winching a 1,000-pound corpse up a steel and plywood ramp onto a trailer at about a foot per minute. And speaking of feet, turns out a standard tarp will only cover 3/4 of a dead horse, leaving one hind leg and rigor mortis sticking up for other drivers to see. Also turns out that tailgaters change their mind about following closely and decide that slow and steady is a fine policy instead. My only regret is missing the burial the next day, as I heard that lifting a half-ton cadaver into the air with a backhoe is a remarkable sight. I'm thinking I might just have to apply to Mackinac Sanitation next summer. I might just have some freshly acquired skills they could want.
I'm not ashamed to admit that without Doogie Howser, I would have nary a clue who Toa Tai is or his music. Her music? Whatever. That Pump Up the Jam could be connected to Biz Marquee in any legitimate way is stupendous.
See the sisters beat is fast and funky. We gonna do a little something like this. You know who this is. This is the Emma's of A, R's of K. Guaranteed to rock and break your day. For my man Toad, we gonna go like this. Check it out. Check him out, he can see SKB. I see down with the crew that'll rock you with you. With the taste of the bass in your face. Gonna rock and track the play at a steady pace. I'm freaking here, freaking there, do what wants anywhere. Rock slow.
Welcome back to the Real Straight Stock with Daniel Sir Six-a-Lot Kelvin.
The views expressed on the Straight Stock may not be the views of the Make and Break staff or the Radio Mackinac.org management.
I'm gonna give it to you straight.
As I've described in previous episodes and even earlier in this episode, getting around on Mackinac Island in the wintertime can be a challenging and unique task. Even tasks with a philanthropic bent need to play by the rules. Around here, especially during winter, there are folks that don't play by the rules. Why, yes, they get results, but they're loose cannons. And you know what they say about loose cannons. They get fired up at the fort, depending on the crowd size. But anyway, back to the point. The rules about motorized vehicles must be adhered to. For example, an idea like Meals on Wheels is an active one, so to speak, here on the island. But meals delivered via some of the only wheels on the island would be cold and expensive. Horse-delivered sustenance is not free, especially after working hours. And most importantly, horses don't have a turbo button bred into their backsides for the exclusive purpose of delivering prepared meals to the elderly and the infirm at a rapid pace. On Mackinac Island, the meals are delivered on snowmobiles. This wasn't always the case. Many other forms of delivery were tried over the years. Some worked, some didn't. Some absolutely succeeded, while the others just couldn't pass muster or even cut the mustard. I'll share with you some of these techniques used for the delivery of deliciousness. There was meals on oxen, meals on kites, meals on Steve, meals on stilts. There was the mealtime zipline extravaganza, which worked well only if the recipient's window was open. Besides, there were complaints about all of the rigging. All of these ideas worked, but just wouldn't last. They lacked a certain je ne sais quoi, a lack of poetry, which I must add wasn't due to the lack of effort. Mac Blanston, the originator of Meals on Stilts, would recite Byron whilst negotiating the snowy roads with a sack of dinner. Meals on what? Something was missing. Then it was realized. The poetry of service and generosity needed more rhyming. The next hot dish was delivered quickly and efficiently, and was colloquially termed a meal on a snowmobile. A tradition was born and lives to this day. Many selfless people have worked hard every week to provide wonderful meals for their elders here on the island. I have a few ideas of how I could make their service more productive, exciting, rewarding, and even of Michelin quality. I'm not scared of my brilliance, nor am I worried about your ability to steal my ideas with any actual success as a result of such theft. With an inspiration from current military tech, I must conclude that attack drones and explosive device extrication robots could be repurposed for dinner delivery. I imagine a world where GPS-guided dinner trays are delivered via remotely controlled drone aircraft. Imagine a society in which robots are not your overlords or even our bomb-disposing tools. I propose using drone-delivered GPS-guided bombs to deliver tasty treats. From the kitchen, meals could be distributed by helicopter drones. The repurposed surveillance drone could drop a GPS-guided parachute of gastrointestinal pleasure directly to your doorstep. The track-driven bomb robots could deliver meals during moments of potential aircraft instability caused by weather. Yes, they may be slow, but add extra battery to burn off as a food warmer and you're all set. I do realize that these tracked robots are slow and prone to pilfering. Think of Johnny Five with a tray of lasagna and you have a baseball bat. Well, tasers fix that problem, or Johnny Five has a cricket bat and isn't afraid to use it. I look forward to our government caregivers looking down upon us with curious eyes, and if those eyes can stare, then those eyes can feed. I want to see a remotely controlled Amigo deliver food, at least. This has been Straight Talk Straits. I'm your host, Daniel Calvin. Thank you for listening. And now for a little feature that I guess I'll call Stupid Tweets. This evening's edition, we're going to follow the first few picks resulting from a search for the terms hair on fire in quotes. So let's start off with at Supercari. I know this kid, he tried to make out with me once. I couldn't stop thinking about setting his hair on fire. Paul Carson says, never set my hair before on fire today. Kind of surprised by this fact. So am I. Phoenix says, in response to 30 ways to make a girl smile, light her hair on fire. Another one adds, you're not going to be happy unless you're going mock with your hair on fire. Smiley face. Love that line. I bet you do. Tall says, thanks again at Pac-Man Stones for setting my hair on fire. Hashtag SMH. Eweezy21 profoundly states, OMFG, the traffic in Strongsville is enough to make me set my hair on fire. That's bad traffic. That is bad traffic. Okay, let's see here. One more. Exo Stephanie states, so, my friend lit my hair on fire in second hour today. Thanks, Vince. I had hairspray in my hair. Hashtag Stephanie problems. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. You've improved my radio show that much more. Oh, one more. Zack Attack. Lull, Daniel is setting his leg hair on fire. That is worth a lull. Thanks, Zachary Lynn. All right, moving on.
Honey, just allow me one more chance to get along with you. Honey, just allow me one more chance to do anything for you. I'm walking down the road with my head in my hand. I'm looking for a woman, he's a worried man. Just one favor I ask of you is just allow me one more chance.
Thank you for listening to Make and Break Radio, episode 54. I had a great time. Hope you did. Join us next week for Tiger Talk with Earl Byron. Looking forward to that. And I think I'm going to wear a meat suit just to see what happens. Good night.